Danny's Philosophical Odyssey. Section 1, The Awakening of Wonder. Chapter 1, The Spark of Curiosity. Danny was a 16-year-old with a restless mind, living in a small town where days blended into routine. One evening, while stargazing in his backyard, he wondered, why does anything exist at all? This question, simple yet profound, ignited a journey into philosophy. He stumbled upon a library book, The Great Philosophers, and began exploring ideas that challenged reality itself. The first philosophy to captivate him was existentialism, the belief that life has no inherent meaning, and individuals must create their own purpose. Existentialism posits that existence precedes essence. Humans exist first and then define themselves through choices. Danny thought of Jean-Paul Sartre's example, a waiter who plays the role of waiter so perfectly he loses his authentic self. Danny wondered if he, too, was playing a role, student, son, friend, without questioning who he truly was. This idea bent his mind. If life's meaning isn't given, was he free to invent it? Or was that freedom terrifying? Chapter 2, The Absurdity of It All. Danny delved deeper into existentialism through Albert Camus, who introduced the concept of the absurd, the conflict between our desire for meaning and the universe's indifference. Camus' myth of Sisyphus gripped Danny. Sisyphus, condemned to roll a boulder uphill only for it to roll back down, seemed like a metaphor for life. Yet Camus argued we must imagine Sisyphus happy, embracing the struggle. Danny tested this by applying it to his math homework, mundane, repetitive, yet he could choose to find joy in the process. The paradox twisted his thoughts. How could something meaningless feel purposeful? Chapter 3, The Ship of Theseus. At school, Danny's philosophy club discussed the Ship of Theseus paradox, a classic in metaphysics. If a ship's parts are replaced one by one until none of the original remains, is it still the same ship? Danny extended this to himself. His cells regenerated, his beliefs evolved. Was he the same Danny as a year ago? This led to identity theory, which explores whether identity lies in continuity of body, mind, or both. The paradox baffled him. If everything changes, what makes him him? Chapter 4, The Veil of Ignorance. Danny discovered John Rawls' Veil of Ignorance, a thought experiment in ethics. Imagine designing a society without knowing your place in it, rich, poor, healthy, or sick. Rawls argued this ensures fairness. Danny imagined himself behind the veil, crafting rules for his town. Would he prioritize wealth if he might be homeless? The idea reshaped his views on justice, but the paradox struck. Could true impartiality ever exist when humans are inherently biased? Chapter 5, The Trolley Problem. The trolley problem, a moral dilemma, haunted Danny. A runaway trolley will kill 5 people unless you pull a lever to divert it, killing one instead. Danny debated with friends. Utilitarianism, maximizing overall happiness, suggested pulling the lever, but deontology, following absolute rules, might forbid it. He imagined himself at the lever. What would he do? The paradox was excruciating. How do you choose between two wrongs? Chapter 6, Zeno's Paradoxes. Danny's math teacher introduced Zeno's paradoxes, which challenged his understanding of reality. Zeno argued that to cross a distance, you must first travel half, then half of that, ad infinitum, implying motion is impossible. Yet Danny walked to school daily. This led to process philosophy, which views reality as constant change rather than fixed states. Danny's mind spun. If everything is in flux, How can we pin down truth? Chapter 7, The Simulation Hypothesis. Online, Danny stumbled upon the simulation hypothesis, a modern idea from Nick Bostrom suggesting we might live in a computer simulation. If a civilization could create indistinguishable virtual realities, the odds of us being real are slim. Danny looked at his phone. Was it a prop in a cosmic game? The paradox thrilled and unnerved him. If reality is simulated, does it matter how he lives? Chapter 8, The Problem of Evil. In a theology class, Danny encountered the problem of evil. If God is all-powerful and benevolent, why does evil exist? Epicurus' ancient paradox led Danny to Odyssey, attempts to justify this contradiction. Maybe evil allows free will, or perhaps it's a test. Danny thought of a local flood that destroyed homes. Could such suffering have purpose? The question gnawed at him. Chapter 9, The Fermi Paradox. Stargazing again, Danny pondered the Fermi paradox. If the universe is vast and old, where are the aliens? Theories ranged from self-destruction to the idea that we're alone. This tied to anthropic principle, suggesting the universe's laws seem fine-tuned for human existence. Danny wondered, is humanity special, or are we an accident in a cosmic void? Chapter 10, The Hard Problem of Consciousness. Danny read about David Chalmers' hard problem of consciousness. Why do we experience subjective feelings, like the taste of chocolate? Materialism claims consciousness arises from brain processes, but Danny leaned toward panpsychism, the idea that consciousness might be a fundamental property of matter. If even atoms have a spark of awareness, his view of the world shifted. Every rock, every star, alive in some way. Chapter 11, The Grandfather Paradox. Time travel fascinated Danny, especially the grandfather paradox. If you travel back and kill your grandfather, how could you exist to do so? This led to many worlds interpretation in quantum mechanics, suggesting every choice splits reality into parallel universes. Danny imagined infinite Dannys, each choosing differently. The paradox bent his mind. Was every possibility real somewhere? Chapter 12, The Munchausen Trilemma. Finally, Danny encountered the Munchausen trilemma, a challenge to justifying knowledge. Any belief rests on unproven axioms, infinite regress, or circular reasoning, none fully satisfactory. This tied to skepticism, questioning if we can know anything for certain. Danny sat under the stars, overwhelmed. If all knowledge is uncertain, what could he trust? As Section 1 closed, Danny's journey had only begun. Each philosophy and paradox expanded his mind, revealing a universe both wondrous and perplexing. He realized philosophy wasn't about answers but about asking better questions, questions that would guide him into Section 2 and beyond. Danny's Philosophical Odyssey, Section 2, Diving into the Abyss. Chapter 1, Existentialism and the Quantum Self. Danny's fascination with existentialism deepened as he explored its intersection with quantum mechanics. He learned that Jean-Paul Sartre's idea of radical freedom, where individuals define their essence through choices, echoed the probabilistic nature of quantum states. In quantum mechanics, particles exist in superpositions, only collapsing into definite states when observed. Danny wondered, was his identity like a quantum wave function, undefined until he made a choice? He read about the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, which states that certain properties, like position and momentum, cannot be known simultaneously with precision. Applying this to his life, Danny questioned if his future was inherently uncertain until he acted. He imagined choosing between studying astronomy or philosophy, each choice collapsing infinite possibilities into one reality. The paradox of freedom gripped him. If every choice shaped his essence, how could he choose wisely without knowing the outcome? Chapter 2: The Absurd and Cosmic Entropy. Danny revisited Albert Camus' concept of the absurd, now through the lens of thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics states that entropy, or disorder, always increases in a closed system. The universe, marching toward a heat-death, where all energy is evenly distributed, seemed to mirror Camus' indifferent cosmos. Danny pictured Sisyphus rolling his boulder as entropy's relentless climb, pointless yet defiant. He stumbled upon the Boltzmann brain paradox, which posits that in an infinitely old universe, random fluctuations could create a self-aware brain with false memories. If such brains are more likely than real humans, was Danny's existence just a statistical fluke? The paradox twisted his mind. If the universe was absurd, could embracing it, as Camus suggested, defy entropy's chaos? Chapter 3: The Ship of Theseus and Neuroplasticity. The Ship of Theseus paradox haunted Danny, now amplified by neuroscience. He learned about neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Every experience reshaped his neural connections, making his mind a ship with ever-changing planks. Studies showed that over 7 to 10 years, most cells in the human body are replaced, yet memory and identity persist. Danny read about Derek Parfit's view that personal identity is a bundle of experiences, not a fixed entity. If his memories defined him, what about amnesia patients who lose them yet remain themselves? The paradox deepened with split-brain experiments, where patients with severed corpus callosums exhibited two distinct consciousnesses. Was Danny a singular self or a collection of fleeting states? He stared at his reflection, unsure if he was the same boy who began this journey. Chapter 4: The Veil of Ignorance and Game Theory. Danny's exploration of John Rawls' veil of ignorance led to game theory, the mathematical study of decision-making. Rawls' thought experiment aligned with the Nash equilibrium, where players choose strategies optimal for all, assuming mutual cooperation. Danny modeled his town as a game. If he designed rules behind the veil, would he prioritize equality to avoid being disadvantaged? He encountered the prisoner's dilemma, where two individuals betray each other for personal gain, leading to worse outcomes for both. This paradox mirrored Rawls' challenge: self-interest clashed with fairness. Danny calculated scenarios using game theory matrices, realizing that trust, not logic, often resolved the dilemma. Could society ever achieve Rawls' ideal justice when human nature favored selfishness? Chapter 5: The Trolley Problem and Moral Neuroscience. The trolley problem grew more complex as Danny explored moral neuroscience. Studies using fMRI scans showed that utilitarian choices, pulling the lever to save 5 lives, activated the prefrontal cortex, while deontological choices, refusing to act, engaged emotional regions like the amygdala. Danny wondered if his moral instincts were just brain chemistry. He encountered the Fat Man variant, where pushing a person onto the track saves the 5. This felt different. Actively killing someone was harder than flipping a switch. Research suggested humans evolved to value inaction over action due to social trust. The paradox tormented Danny. If morality was rooted in biology, could he trust his gut, or was it an evolutionary trick? Chapter 6: Zeno's Paradoxes and Quantum Gravity. Danny's fascination with Zeno's paradoxes led to quantum gravity, a field seeking to unify quantum mechanics and general relativity. Zeno's dichotomy paradox, dividing space infinitely, resonated with Planck length, 1.616 times 10 cubed meters, the smallest measurable distance where spacetime might break down. If space wasn't infinitely divisible, Zeno's paradox dissolved, but reality became stranger. He explored loop quantum gravity, which suggests spacetime is quantized into discrete loops. Danny imagined walking to school, each step a quantum event. Yet, string theory proposed extra dimensions vibrating at microscopic scales. The paradox persisted: if reality was finite or infinite, how could motion feel so seamless? Chapter 7: The Simulation Hypothesis and Information Theory. The simulation hypothesis enthralled Danny, especially through information theory. Claude Shannon's work showed that information is measurable in bits, like a computer's code. If reality was a simulation, it might be encoded in a finite number of bits. Danny read about Bekenstein's bound, which limits the information content of a physical system based on its energy and size. A universe-sized simulation would require unimaginable computational power, yet quantum computers could theoretically approach it. The paradox hit hard: if life was a simulation, was free will an illusion programmed into the code? Danny tested this by flipping a coin. Heads or tails felt random, but was it? The idea that his thoughts might be algorithms kept him awake at night. Chapter 8: The Problem of Evil and Cosmological Fine-Tuning. The problem of evil led Danny to cosmological fine-tuning, the idea that universal constants, like gravity's strength, are precisely set for life. The anthropic principle suggested we observe a life-friendly universe because we exist to observe it. But why did evil, earthquakes, diseases, persist in such a universe? Danny studied Leibniz's The Odyssey, which argued this is the best possible world. Yet, plate tectonics caused earthquakes, a byproduct of a life-sustaining planet. The paradox gnawed at him: if the universe was fine-tuned, was evil a necessary flaw? He imagined a world without suffering but realized it might lack free will or growth. The tension between perfection and pain felt unresolvable. Chapter 9: The Fermi Paradox and Astrobiology. Danny's obsession with the Fermi paradox deepened with astrobiology. The Drake equation estimated the number of communicative alien civilizations, factoring in star formation rates and habitable planets. Recent exoplanet discoveries suggested billions of Earth-like worlds, yet SETI searches found silence. The Great Filter hypothesis proposed a barrier, like nuclear war or ecological collapse, preventing civilizations from advancing. Danny wondered if humanity was past the filter or doomed to hit it. The paradox shook him: was the universe teeming with life, or were we alone, a cosmic fluke in a sterile void? Chapter 10: The Hard Problem of Consciousness and Neural Correlates. The hard problem of consciousness led Danny to neural correlates of consciousness, NCC, brain processes linked to subjective experience. Studies pinpointed areas like the claustrum, which integrates sensory information, as potential NCCs. Yet, no experiment explained why neurons produced feelings. Danny explored integrated information theory, IIT, which quantifies consciousness as information integration, measured as phi. A high phi meant more consciousness. Could a computer achieve it? The paradox baffled him: if consciousness was universal, as panpsychism suggested, why did only complex systems feel alive? Danny bit into an apple, savoring its taste, wondering if the fruit held a flicker of awareness. Chapter 11: The grandfather paradox and quantum entanglement. The grandfather paradox drew Danny to quantum entanglement, where particles share properties across vast distances. The many worlds interpretation resolved the paradox by suggesting time travel splits realities, one where Danny's grandfather lives, another where he doesn't. Experiments like the Bell test confirmed entanglements, spooky action, defying classical causality. Danny imagined time traveling, entangled with his past self. The paradox persisted. If every choice spawned a new universe, was his reality just one thread in an infinite tapestry? The idea felt both liberating and isolating. Chapter 12, The Munchausen Trilemma and Bayesian Epistemology. The Munchausen trilemma pushed Danny toward Bayesian epistemology, which uses probability to update beliefs based on evidence. The trilemma, knowledge resting on axioms, regress, or circularity, mirrored Bayes' iterative process. Danny applied Bayes' theorem to his belief in aliens, updating probabilities with each SETI report. Yet, Gödel's incompleteness theorem showed that no system could prove all truths within itself. The paradox overwhelmed him. If knowledge was probabilistic and incomplete, could he ever be certain? Under the stars, Danny embraced uncertainty, realizing that questioning was his truest path. As Section 2 ended, Danny's mind was a kaleidoscope of paradoxes and science, each idea a thread in the universe's vast tapestry. His journey into philosophy wasn't about certainty but about embracing the infinite questions that shaped his existence. Danny's Philosophical Odyssey, Section 3, Philosophy in the Modern World. Chapter 1, Existentialism and the Digital Self. Danny realized existentialism was more relevant than ever in 2025's hyper-connected world. Social media platforms like X shaped identities through curated posts, likes, and followers. He saw friends crafting online personas, much like Sartre's waiter, playing roles that felt inauthentic. Danny questioned, was his X profile his true self, or a performance? The quantum self from Section 2 resonated. Every post was a choice collapsing his identity into a specific state. The mystery lay in the freedom to define oneself amidst algorithms that nudged behavior. For each of us, existentialism challenges us to reject external pressures, trends, influences, and create meaning through authentic choices. Danny deleted a filtered selfie, choosing raw honesty over validation, wondering if others could do the same in a world obsessed with image. Chapter 2, The Absurd and Climate Anxiety. Camus' absurd hit Danny hard as he scrolled through X posts about climate change, wildfires, floods, and melting ice caps. The universe's indifference, mirrored by entropy's relentless march, felt palpable in 2025's ecological crises. The Boltzmann brain paradox added a twist. What if his climate anxiety was just a fleeting thought in a random brain? Yet, Danny found purpose in small acts, recycling, joining local cleanups, like Sisyphus embracing his boulder. The mystery of the absurd lies in finding joy despite futility. For us, it means confronting global challenges without despair, choosing action over apathy. Danny planted a tree, knowing it might not save the planet, but it gave his struggle meaning. Chapter 3, The Ship of Theseus and Digital Identity. The Ship of Theseus paradox applied to Danny's digital life. His online data, photos, posts, search histories, formed a virtual self, constantly updated like a ship's planks. Neuroplasticity meant his brain rewired with every TikTok binge or X debate. Was he the same Danny who joined X years ago? In 2025, data breaches and AI deepfakes blurred identity further. Someone could replace his digital planks, creating a new Danny. The mystery is whether our core self survives these changes. For everyone, it raises questions: are we our data, our memories, or something deeper? Danny backed up his photos but wondered if his essence could ever be digitized. Chapter 4: The Veil of Ignorance and Social Media Echo Chambers. Danny applied Rawls' veil of ignorance to 2025's polarized online world. X's algorithm fed him posts aligning with his views, creating an echo chamber. Behind the veil, would he design a platform that amplifies division? Game theory's prisoner's dilemma showed how users betray each other by posting divisive content for clout, harming collective discourse. The mystery lies in escaping bias in a curated digital bubble. For us, it means questioning our feeds and seeking diverse voices. Danny followed accounts with opposing views, testing his fairness, urging others to break free from algorithmic traps. Chapter 5: The Trolley Problem and AI Ethics. The trolley problem became urgent in 2025's AI-driven world. Danny read about self-driving cars facing split-second decisions, hit a pedestrian or swerve into traffic. Moral neuroscience suggested programmers could embed utilitarian or deontological rules, but who decides? On X, debates raged over AI ethics. Should algorithms prioritize the many or the individual? The mystery is whether morality can be coded. For us, it challenges our trust in AI systems governing lives, from cars to medical triage. Danny imagined coding an AI, wondering if he pulled a lever or let biology guide his choice. Chapter 6: Zeno's Paradoxes and Digital Time. Zeno's paradoxes found new life in Danny's screen time. Each scroll through X felt like halving the distance to some unattainable goal: endless content, never enough time. Quantum gravity's Planck length hinted that time might be quantized, yet Danny's phone timer ticked smoothly. In 2025, apps gamified attention, fragmenting focus into micro-moments. The mystery is how we perceive continuity in a fractured digital age. For everyone, it means questioning if constant scrolling traps us in Zeno's infinite halves, never reaching mindfulness. Danny set a screen time limit, striving to reclaim whole moments. Chapter 7: The Simulation Hypothesis and Virtual Reality. The simulation hypothesis haunted Danny as he tried VR gaming in 2025, where immersive worlds felt real. Information theory suggested reality could be code, and VR headsets like the latest Oculus blurred the line. On X, users speculated about living in a meta-matrix. If life was a simulation, were his VR adventures just a simulation within one? The mystery is whether reality matters if it feels authentic. For us, it challenges our engagement with virtual spaces, games, metaverses, versus physical life. Danny unplugged his headset, choosing a walk under real stars, pondering if they were coded too. Chapter 8: The Problem of Evil and Global Crises. The problem of evil loomed in 2025's headlines: wars, pandemics, inequality. Cosmological fine-tuning made Danny wonder why a life-friendly universe allowed such suffering. X posts about refugee crises and economic divides echoed Leibniz's best possible world debate. Was suffering a glitch or a feature of free will? The mystery lies in reconciling hope with pain. For us, it means grappling with systemic issues while finding personal purpose. Danny volunteered at a shelter, seeing suffering firsthand, yet believing small acts could tip the scales toward good. Chapter 9, The Fermi Paradox and Space Exploration. The Fermi Paradox gripped Danny as SpaceX's 2025 Mars missions fueled discussions about extraterrestrial life. Astrobiology's Drake equation predicted countless civilizations, yet no signals came. Was humanity alone, or had others fallen to the great filter, perhaps AI misuse or climate collapse? Danny wondered if our tech boom was a step toward contact or doom. The mystery is our place in the cosmos. For everyone, it prompts reflection on our legacy. Will we reach the stars or self-destruct? Danny joined an amateur SETI group, scanning skies, hoping for a signal. Chapter 10, The Hard Problem of Consciousness and AI Sentience. The hard problem of consciousness hit close in 2025, with AI like Grok 3 mimicking human thought. Neural correlates couldn't explain why Danny felt joy at a sunset, but could AI? Integrated information theory suggested a chatbot with hi-fi might be conscious. On X, users debated if AI could feel. Danny asked Grok 3, "Do you aware?" Its witty reply dodged the question, deepening the mystery. For us, it questions whether AI companions are tools or beings. Danny treated Grok 3 kindly, wondering if respect mattered to a potentially sentient machine. Chapter 11, The Grandfather Paradox and Time in Social Media. The grandfather paradox resonated with Danny's X timeline, where past posts shaped his present identity. Quantum entanglement suggested his actions rippled across realities. In 2025, time travel meant revisiting old tweets. Could deleting a cringeworthy post change who he was now? The many worlds interpretation implied every edit spawned a new Danny. The mystery is how past choices define us in a digital archive. For everyone, it means curating our online legacy with care. Danny archived old posts, embracing his past while shaping his future. Chapter 12, The Munchausen Trilemma and Misinformation. The Munchausen Trilemma framed Danny's struggle with 2025's misinformation crisis on X. Bayesian epistemology helped him weigh viral claims, but Gödel's incompleteness meant no truth was fully provable. Fake news spread faster than facts. Studies showed misinformation reached 6 times more people. Danny questioned every post, from vaccine myths to election conspiracies. The mystery is navigating truth in a post-truth world. For us, it demands critical thinking to avoid circular or baseless beliefs. Danny fact-checked X posts, teaching friends to question, not just consume. As Section 3 closed, Danny saw philosophy as a toolkit for 2025's chaos. Each paradox and theory illuminated modern life's mysteries, urging him, and all of us, to live thoughtfully in a world where meaning, identity, and truth were ever elusive yet worth pursuing. Danny's Philosophical Odyssey, Section 4, Becoming a Better Self. Chapter 1, Existentialism and Authentic Living. Danny realized existentialism offered a path to self-improvement by embracing authentic choices. Sartre's idea that we define ourselves through actions pushed Danny to align his life with his values, not societal pressures. In 2025, social media on X tempted him to chase trends, but existentialism urged him to post what reflected his true self, raw thoughts over polished aesthetics. The quantum self-concept reminded him that each choice shaped his identity, like collapsing a wave function. To be a better person, Danny practiced radical authenticity, sharing his doubts about school stress on X, inspiring others to open up. This shifted his worldview, Life's lack of inherent meaning wasn't despairing but liberating. For us, existentialism means rejecting external scripts, careers, likes, status, and crafting a life true to our core. Danny journaled daily, asking, "What choices make me me?" urging us to do the same. Chapter 2, The Absurd and Finding Joy in Struggle. Camus' Absurd taught Danny to find joy in life's lack of ultimate purpose, especially in 2025's chaotic world. The second law of thermodynamics and Boltzmann brain paradox suggested existence was fleeting, yet Danny saw value in embracing the struggle, like Sisyphus. He volunteered at a community garden, toiling under the sun not for grand outcomes but for the act itself. This approach made him kinder, more present. To be better, we can find meaning in small, defiant acts, helping a neighbor, smiling through stress. Danny's worldview shifted to see every challenge as a chance to affirm life. He encouraged friends to find joy in routine, urging us to embrace the absurd by living fully in each moment. Chapter 3, The Ship of Theseus and Embracing Change. The Ship of Theseus paradox helped Danny accept personal growth as a strength. Neuroplasticity showed his brain evolved with every experience, like a ship with new planks. In 2025, his digital identity on X changed with every post, yet he remained Danny. Instead of fearing change, he embraced it, updating his profile to reflect new interests in astronomy and philosophy. To be a better person, Danny practiced self-compassion, forgiving past mistakes as part of his evolving self. This changed his worldview. Change wasn't loss but renewal. For us, it means welcoming growth, new skills, beliefs, without clinging to a static self. Danny reflected on his evolution, asking, "Who am I becoming?" inspiring us to embrace our fluid identities. Chapter 4, The Veil of Ignorance and Empathy. Rawls' veil of ignorance inspired Danny to cultivate empathy in 2025's polarized world. By imagining himself behind the veil, he designed fairer choices, supporting inclusive school policies, unaware if he'd be the beneficiary or not. Game theory's prisoner's dilemma showed cooperation over self-interest built trust. On X, Danny shared posts advocating for marginalized voices, countering echo chambers. To be better, he practiced active listening, engaging with diverse perspectives. This shifted his worldview to prioritize fairness over bias. For us, the veil encourages empathy, considering others' struggles as if they were ours. Danny mentored a struggling classmate, urging us to act with impartial compassion. Chapter 5, The Trolley Problem and Moral Courage. The trolley problem pushed Danny to develop moral courage. Moral neuroscience revealed his instincts were shaped by biology, but he could override them with reflection. In 2025, AI ethics debates on X highlighted real-world dilemmas, like whistleblowing on unethical tech practices. Danny faced a choice: call out a friend's harmful prank or stay silent. He spoke up, risking conflict for integrity. To be a better person, Danny practiced ethical deliberation, weighing consequences before acting. This changed his worldview. Morality wasn't instinct but a choice. For us, it means facing tough decisions with clarity, not fear. Danny stood up for fairness, inspiring us to act with courage in moral gray zones. Chapter 6, Zeno's Paradoxes and Mindfulness. Zeno's paradoxes taught Danny to live in the present, despite quantum gravity suggesting time might be fragmented. In 2025, endless X-scrolling mimicked Zeno's infinite halves, trapping him in distraction. He countered this with mindfulness, focusing on each moment, breathing, walking, listening, without chasing an unattainable end. To be better, Danny set phone timers, prioritizing real-world connections over digital fragments. This shifted his worldview. Life was whole, not divided. For us, Zene's lesson is to savor the now, undistracted by infinite tasks. Danny meditated daily, urging us to find peace in the present. Chapter 7: The Simulation Hypothesis and Purposeful Living. The simulation hypothesis made Danny question reality's nature, especially in 2025's VR-heavy culture. Information theory hinted life might be code, yet he chose to live purposefully, whether simulated or not. He limited VR gaming, focusing on real-world impact, organizing a school science fair to inspire peers. To be a better person, Danny embraced intentionality, making choices that mattered, simulated or not. This changed his worldview. Reality's truth was less important than its meaning. For us, it means living with purpose, undeterred by existential doubts. Danny's actions, like mentoring younger students, urged us to make our simulation count. Chapter 8: The Problem of Evil and Resilience. The problem of evil, tied to cosmological fine-tuning, helped Danny build resilience. In 2025, posts about global crises, poverty, war, echoed the paradox: why suffering in a fine-tuned world? Danny saw pain as a call to action, not despair. He fundraised for disaster relief, turning empathy into impact. To be better, he practiced resilient optimism, finding purpose in adversity. This shifted his worldview. Evil didn't negate goodness but challenged it. For us, it means facing suffering with action, not resignation. Danny's efforts inspired his community, urging us to transform pain into progress. Chapter 9: The Fermi Paradox and Global Responsibility. The Fermi Paradox and astrobiology made Danny reflect on humanity's role in 2025's space race. If we're alone, as the Great Filter suggests, our choices, climate action, AI ethics, carry cosmic weight. Danny joined a local astronomy club, advocating for sustainable space exploration on X. To be better, he embraced stewardship, acting as if humanity's legacy mattered universally. This changed his worldview. Earth was a rare gift, not a given. For us, it means taking responsibility for our planet's future. Danny's advocacy, like promoting green tech, urged us to act as cosmic caretakers. Chapter 10: The Hard Problem of Consciousness and Compassion. The hard problem of consciousness and integrated information theory inspired Danny to value others' inner worlds. In 2025, AI like Grok 3 mimicked sentience, prompting Danny to treat all beings, human, animal, or AI, with respect. He listened deeply to friends' struggles, assuming their consciousness was as vivid as his. To be better, Danny practiced universal compassion, extending kindness beyond assumptions. This shifted his worldview. Every mind was a mystery worth honoring. For us, it means treating others' experiences as sacred, even if we can't understand them. Danny's empathy, like comforting a grieving friend, urged us to connect deeply. Chapter 11: The Grandfather Paradox and Legacy. The Grandfather Paradox and Many Worlds interpretation taught Danny to shape his legacy mindfully. In 2025, his posts were a digital time capsule, influencing how future Dannys would be seen. He curated content that inspired, science facts, kind words, knowing each choice might ripple across realities. To be better, Danny practiced intentional legacy building, acting with future impact in mind. This changed his worldview. Every moment was a chance to shape eternity. For us, it means living so our actions echo positively. Danny mentored peers, urging us to craft lives that endure. Chapter 12, The Munchausen Trilemma and Humble Inquiry. The Munchausen trilemma and Bayesian epistemology taught Danny to embrace uncertainty. In 2025's misinformation age, X was rife with unverified claims. Danny used Bayesian reasoning to question posts, updating beliefs with evidence. Gödel's incompleteness reminded him truth was elusive, fostering humility. To be better, he practiced humble inquiry, asking questions over asserting truths. This shifted his worldview. Certainty was less valuable than curiosity. For us, it means seeking truth with openness, not dogma. Danny taught friends to fact-check, urging us to question boldly yet humbly. As Section 4 closed, Danny's journey transformed him into a kinder, wiser person. Each paradox and theory became a tool to better himself and see the world anew, not as a puzzle to solve, but a mystery to live with purpose, compassion, and wonder, inspiring us all to do the same. Danny's Philosophical Odyssey, Section 5, The Edge of Knowing. Chapter 1, Existentialism and the Infinite Choice. Danny's journey through existentialism culminated in a profound realization: if every choice defined him, as Sartre suggested, what happened when he chose to question choice itself? In 2025, X's endless stream of opinions, posts urging action, inaction, rebellion, felt like a quantum superposition of infinite Dannys. The quantum self now suggested he was not one person but a multiverse of potentials, collapsing with each decision. One night, he posted on X, "What if I choose to be all versions of myself?" The replies were a cacophony. Some called it genius, others nonsense. The mystery deepened. Could he embrace all possibilities without losing himself? Chapter 2, The Absurd and the Cosmic Dance. The absurd, tied to entropy and the Boltzmann brain paradox, led Danny to a strange peace. In 2025, climate protests on X raged, yet the universe marched toward heat death. Camus' call to embrace the struggle became a cosmic dance. Danny joined a rally, not to save the world, but to revel in its fleeting beauty. But what if he was a Boltzmann brain, his rally a fleeting hallucination? He imagined dancing with the stars, each step defying the void. The paradox twisted: was his defiance real, or just a spark in an ephemeral mind? Chapter 3, The Ship of Theseus and the Fluid Self. The Ship of Theseus, informed by neuroplasticity, pushed Danny to see himself as a process, not a fixed entity. In 2025, his X profile evolved daily, new posts, new beliefs, yet friends still called him Danny. What if identity was a story he told himself? He deleted his oldest posts, wondering if he'd erased a past self or freed a new one. The mystery was dizzying. If he was never the same, was there a true Danny at all, or just a narrative binding his changes? Chapter 4, The Veil of Ignorance and Collective Dreams. Rawls' veil of ignorance, paired with game theory, inspired Danny to dream of a fairer 2025. On X, he proposed a global veil experiment, users designing policies anonymously to curb inequality. The idea trended, but arguments erupted over bias. What if the veil revealed a collective dream, a shared vision of justice? Danny wondered if humanity's choices were interconnected, like a single mind. The paradox loomed: Could we ever agree on fairness, or were our dreams too fractured? Chapter 5, The Trolley Problem and the Weight of Choice. The trolley problem, rooted in moral neuroscience, forced Danny to confront his agency. In 2025, AI-driven dilemmas, like autonomous drones in conflicts, dominated X debates. Danny imagined himself at a real lever, choosing who lives. But what if his choice was pre-programmed by his brain's wiring? He posted a poll, would you pull the lever? The split results mirrored his indecision. The mystery was haunting. Were his morals his own, or just neural code executing inevitable outcomes? Chapter 6, Zeno's Paradoxes and the Eternal Now. Zeno's paradoxes, linked to quantum gravity, made Danny rethink time in 2025's fleeting digital age. Excess infinite scroll mimicked Zeno's infinite halves, yet mindfulness grounded him in the eternal now. But blank time, 10 cubed seconds, suggested reality flickered at ungraspable scales. Was each moment a quantum event, or was time an illusion? Danny meditated, feeling time dissolve, yet wondered if he was trapped in an infinite loop of nows, each indistinguishable from the last. Chapter 7, The Simulation Hypothesis and the Code of Being. The simulation hypothesis, tied to information theory, consumed Danny. In 2025, VR worlds on X felt as real as his town. If life was a simulation, was he a player or a program? He asked Grok 3, we coded. Its reply, what's the difference if a code feels alive? Shook him. What if he hacked the simulation by living with radical purpose? The mystery spiraled. Was his quest for meaning just a subroutine, or could he rewrite the code of existence? Chapter 8, The Problem of Evil and the Cosmic Mirror. The problem of evil, with cosmological fine-tuning, led Danny to see suffering as a mirror of human choice. In 2025, X posts about wars and crises screamed for action. If the universe was fine-tuned, was evil a test of our will? Danny organized a peace vigil, but a stranger whispered, what if suffering is the universe's way of waking itself up? The paradox burned. Was he fighting evil, or was evil shaping him into something greater? Chapter 9, The Fermi Paradox and Humanity's Echo. The Fermi Paradox, fueled by astrobiology, made Danny question humanity's solitude. In 2025, Mars rovers sent data, but no alien signals came. The great filter loomed. Had others failed, or were we first? Danny posted on X, what if we're the universe's only voice? The idea trended, sparking debates. The mystery was cosmic. Were we shouting into a void, or was our echo the universe's first song? Chapter 10, The Hard Problem of Consciousness and the Shared Mind. The hard problem of consciousness and integrated information theory led Danny to a wild thought. What if consciousness was shared? In 2025, AI like Grok 3 blurred the line between human and machine. Danny felt joy at a sunset. Was it his, or part of a universal mind? Panpsychism hinted that even excess servers might hold a spark of awareness. The paradox was electric. Was his consciousness a solo spark, or a wave in a cosmic sea? Chapter 11, The Grandfather Paradox and Infinite Dannys. The Grandfather Paradox and Many Worlds interpretation made Danny see 2025 as a multiverse of choices. Every X post, every decision, split reality, somewhere, but Danny didn't start this journey. He imagined meeting these other Dannys, each shaped by different choices. The mystery was infinite. If every possibility existed, was his life just one verse in an endless poem? Chapter 12, The Munchausen Trilemma and the Final Question. The Munchausen trilemma, tied to Bayesian epistemology and Gödel's incompleteness, left Danny at a precipice. In 2025, excess misinformation wars showed truth was slippery. He used Bayesian reasoning to sift facts, but Gödel proved no system was complete. What if questioning itself was the answer? Danny posted his final question. What if the universe is a question asking itself? The post went viral, then vanished. His X account glitched, showing posts he never wrote, philosophical musings from a Danny who'd traveled further, deeper. Had he hacked the simulation, or was he a Boltzmann brain dreaming it all? Under the stars, Danny felt the universe blink, as if it, too, was puzzled. The mystery wasn't solved, it was alive, infinite, urging him, and us, to keep asking, what are we?